Breaking news to bring you out of Winnipeg this hour. A judge has stayed all charges against former fashion mogul Peter Nygard in his Winnipeg sexual assault trial. Now, the judge says his right to a fair trial was violated after police failed to retain records for allegations dating back to the 1990s. The CBC's Hilary Johnstone has more details on all of this. Okay, what has developed?
So the important thing to say here, Arthi, is that this is very much in relation to the charges that he was facing in Manitoba. And what this essentially means, the fact that these charges have now been stayed by this provincial court judge, is that they will not be proceeding at this time. And he was expected to face trial on these charges coming up in December, so just a couple of months from now. So as Arthi was just saying there, all of this is related to allegations of sexual assault, that he had sexually assaulted a woman in his warehouse in Winnipeg back in the early 1990s. And what this is all in relation to specifically, why these charges have now been stayed, is because last month his lawyers had argued that his right to a fair trial had been crippled or had been impeded because the police at the time had not kept records. There had not been police records kept of interviews that had taken place with the complainant, with the woman who had alleged that she had been sexually assaulted by Peter Nygard. The judge in this case, it would seem, has agreed with Peter Nygard's legal team, and now we have this news developing just in the past couple of minutes in a courthouse in Manitoba that those charges that he was facing in relation to that alleged assault back in the 1990s, that those charges have now been stayed. So like I was saying, he was expected to go to trial with those charges coming up in December. Now that these charges have been stayed, that will not be proceeding, Arthi, at this time.
Okay, and we understand too that you made clear there that it's the jurisdiction Manitoba here.
That's right. So he is still at this point facing charges in Montreal, so facing charges in Quebec, and he is currently at an institution serving an 11-year sentence here in Ontario after he was convicted last September, so September of 2024, for sexually assaulting 4 women at his Toronto corporate headquarters. That was in the late 80s going up into the early 2000s. So still at that institution in Ontario, still facing those charges in Quebec, and he is still facing extradition to the United States. And also important to point out here that just last year, so nearly a year ago, in November of 2024, the Supreme Court of Canada decided not to hear his case. He had wanted to have that looked at, that extradition order to the United States, and they had decided they were not going to hear his appeal. And as is customary, the Supreme Court at the time did not give a reason for that. So at this point, he is still facing extradition to the United States, where he faces charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, and still also, Arthi, facing those charges in Quebec.
Okay, thank you for this.
Thank you.
That is the CBC's Hilary Johnstone reporting.